What if I told you that one quiet rule change in 2026 could cost the average Canadian tens of thousands of dollars in retirement income without them even realizing it? No market crash, no recession, just a rule update buried in fine print. According to recent projections, many retirees may receive less money than expected, even after paying into the system their entire working lives. Sounds impossible, right? That's exactly why almost no one is talking about it. Here's the scary part. This change doesn't hit everyone at once. It works slowly and silently, year after year, shaving dollars off future payments until retirement finally arrives, and the damage is already done. People who think they're safe because they work hard and paid consistently may be the ones most exposed. And if you believe the pension alone will cover your basic lifestyle, this video might completely change how you see your future. Stay until the end, because one of these rules surprises even financial experts, and ignoring it could be the most expensive mistake of your life. Number 1. Contribution rate shift. The first rule most Canadians underestimate is the contribution rate adjustment. On paper, it looks harmless, just a small percentage increase taken from your paycheck. But when you zoom out over 30 or 40 working years, that small increase can quietly divert thousands of dollars away from your take-home pay. Starting in the lead-up to 2026, higher earners especially will notice deductions creeping up, even if their salary stays the same. This is part of the long-term sustainability plan for the Canada Pension Plan, but sustainability for the system doesn't always mean comfort for the individual. Here's where it gets tricky. Many people assume that paying more automatically means getting much more later. That's not always true. While higher contributions can raise your future payout, the increase is often smaller than expected, especially once inflation, taxes, and life expectancy are factored in. In other words, you may be giving up more money today without a proportional payoff tomorrow. For middle-income Canadians already stretched by housing, food, and energy costs, this can quietly reduce their ability to save elsewhere, like RRSPs or TFSAs, where they actually have more control. The practical takeaway is simple but powerful. Don't ignore higher deductions as just the cost of working. If contributions rise, your strategy must evolve. That could mean adjusting personal savings, rethinking debt repayment, or timing bonuses and raises more carefully. The biggest mistake is doing nothing and assuming it will all balance out in retirement. This rule doesn't destroy retirement overnight, but left unchecked, it slowly reshapes your future lifestyle, one paycheck at a time. Number 2. Enhanced benefits trap. The second rule sounds positive on the surface, which is why it catches so many people off guard. It's called the CPP enhancement, and the idea is simple. Contribute more now so you can receive higher benefits later. Since its rollout, this enhancement continues to expand into 2026, gradually increasing how much workers pay into the Canada Pension Plan. The messaging is reassuring, your retirement will be stronger. But the reality depends heavily on how long you work, how much you earn, and when you retire. For many Canadians, the math doesn't work out as generously as advertised. Here's the catch most people miss. The enhanced portion of CPP mainly benefits those with long, uninterrupted, high-earning careers. If your work history includes career breaks, part-time years, self-employment gaps, or early retirement plans, you may end up paying into the enhanced system without fully qualifying for its rewards. That means higher deductions during your prime earning years, but only partial access to the enhanced payout later. It's not a scam, but it is a design that quietly favors certain career paths over others, and most people don't realize which side they're on. What can you actually do about it? First, stop assuming enhancement automatically equals security. It doesn't replace personal planning. If more of your income is being locked into CPP, you may need to intentionally build flexibility elsewhere through personal savings, diversified investments, or even delaying retirement strategically. The real danger of this rule isn't that it exists, it's that people trust it blindly. Enhanced benefits sound comforting, but without understanding how eligibility truly works, this rule can leave you feeling protected right up until retirement proves otherwise. Number 3. Earnings ceiling change. One of the most underestimated changes heading into 2026 is the quiet shift in the earnings ceiling, officially known as the maximum level of income that counts toward pension calculations. Each year, the limit rises, but upcoming adjustments mean a larger portion of your income may no longer increase your future payout. In simple terms, you could be earning more, contributing more, yet seeing diminishing returns when retirement arrives. For many middle and upper middle income Canadians, this creates a dangerous illusion of progress while actual retirement benefits begin to flatten within the Canada Pension Plan. The real problem is how this change reshapes expectations. Many workers mentally tie their pension future to salary growth, earn more, retire better. But once income rises above the ceiling, additional earnings stop boosting CPP benefits. That means promotions, overtime, and late career income spikes may not translate into higher monthly payments, even though deductions remain noticeable. Over time, this disconnect can leave people shocked by how modest their CPP income actually is compared to their final working salary. The gap between lifestyle expectations and pension reality becomes wider, and it often goes unnoticed until it's too late to fix. The practical response to this rule is awareness and adjustment. If you're approaching or already above the earnings ceiling, CPP should no longer be viewed as a growth tool. It becomes a baseline safety net. At that stage, real retirement strength must come from places you control, like personal savings, employer plans, or investment income. The biggest mistake is assuming the system will scale with your career success. This rule quietly reminds Canadians of a hard truth. Beyond a certain point, CPP stops keeping up, and if you don't plan for that early, your retirement lifestyle may end up far smaller than you imagined. Number 4. Early retirement penalties. One of the most emotionally driven decisions Canadians make is when to start their pension. Many dream of leaving work early, assuming the pension will more or less balance out over time. But heading into 2026, early retirement penalties tied to the Canada Pension Plan remain far more severe than most people realize. Starting CPP before the standard age permanently reduces your monthly payments, and those reductions don't disappear later. Once locked in, they follow you for life, quietly shrinking your income every single month. What makes this rule especially dangerous is how normal early retirement feels today. People see friends retire at 60 or 62 and assume it's a smart, harmless move. But the math behind the penalties is unforgiving. A few years taken early can translate into thousands of dollars lost over a lifetime, especially as people live longer. Combine that with rising living costs and longer retirements, an early CPP can turn what feels like freedom into financial pressure later in life. Many retirees only realize the impact in their 70s, when going back to work is no longer an option. The smartest approach isn't about choosing the right age, it's about choosing the right strategy. For some, delaying CPP while using personal savings or part-time income can dramatically increase lifetime benefits. Even waiting an extra year or two can significantly boost monthly payments for decades. The mistake is deciding emotionally instead of strategically. This rule doesn't punish early retirement. It punishes unplanned early retirement. If you don't run the numbers and understand the long-term consequences, this single decision can quietly reshape your entire retirement experience. Number 5. Inflation reality gap. One of the biggest misconceptions about retirement income is the belief that it will naturally keep up with real-life costs. Yes, payments from the Canada Pension Plan are indexed to inflation, but this is where theory and reality begin to drift apart. Official inflation measures are based on averages, not on how retirees actually live. Housing, food, utilities, insurance, and healthcare often rise faster than the general index, meaning your pension may technically increase each year while your purchasing power quietly shrinks. This gap becomes more dangerous the longer you live. In the early years of retirement, CPP may feel adequate, even comfortable. But over 10, 15, or 20 years, small shortfalls compound. Groceries take a bigger bite, property taxes climb, prescriptions cost more, and services you rely on become less affordable. Many retirees are surprised to discover that while their CPP payment has gone up on paper, it buys less freedom and fewer choices in real life. Inflation doesn't need to spike dramatically to cause damage. It just needs to remain persistent. The key takeaway from this rule is that inflation protection is not the same as lifestyle protection. Relying solely on indexed income is risky if you don't also build personal buffers. That could mean investments designed to outpace inflation, flexible spending plans, or even part-time income in early retirement years. The mistake is assuming the system will adjust perfectly to your needs. CPP was designed to follow economic averages, not individual realities. Without your own strategy to close the inflation gap, this rule can slowly erode the retirement you worked decades to build. Quick pause. If even one rule surprised you, type the number in the comments so others know what to watch out for. We put a lot of research and effort into breaking this down clearly, so support the channel by subscribing. It's just one click, and it helps us keep making videos that actually protect your future. Number 6. Survivor Benefit Shock. One of the most painful surprises in retirement planning appears after a loss, not before it. Many couples assume that when one partner passes away, the surviving spouse will simply continue receiving the same combined pension income. That assumption is dangerously wrong. Under the Canada Pension Plan, survivor benefits are capped, limited, and often far lower than people expect. In many cases, a household can lose a significant portion of its monthly income almost overnight. What makes this rule especially harsh is how invisible it is during working years. Couples see two CPP statements and mentally add them together, assuming that income will always be there. But CPP does not fully stack survivor benefits on top of retirement benefits. There are maximum limits, age-based rules, and reductions that can sharply cut payments. At the same time, many expenses don't disappear after a spouse dies. Housing, utilities, and basic living costs remain, while income drops. This creates a financial shock during an already emotionally overwhelming time. The practical lesson here is simple but often ignored. Plan as if one income will eventually disappear. Couples need to test their retirement plan against a survivor scenario, not just a joint one. That may mean increasing personal savings, using life insurance strategically, or structuring withdrawals so the surviving partner has flexibility. The mistake isn't trusting CPP. It's assuming it was designed to fully protect families after loss. This rule quietly shifts financial responsibility back to the household, and without preparation, it can turn a stable retirement into a stressful one when security is needed most. Number 7. Contribution Gaps Penalty. One of the least understood rules, and one of the most damaging, is how contribution gaps affect your final pension. Many Canadians assume that missing a few years of work won't matter much in the long run. Career breaks for caregiving, unemployment, illness, or self-employment are incredibly common. But under the Canada Pension Plan, every low or zero contribution year can quietly drag down your lifetime average, reducing monthly payments permanently. What makes this rule deceptive is that the impact is delayed. You don't feel it when you take time off. You don't see it on your paycheck. The penalty only shows up decades later, when retirement income is calculated, and by then, there's no easy fix. While CPP does have dropout provisions meant to protect people during child-rearing or disability periods, these protections are limited and often misunderstood. Many Canadians wrongly assume all gaps are forgiven. They're not. Long or repeated breaks can still shrink benefits far more than expected. The most important takeaway is awareness and proactive planning. If you know your work history includes gaps, you need to treat CPP as a partial foundation, not a complete solution. That may mean increasing personal savings during high-income years, making voluntary contributions when possible, or delaying the start of CPP to offset reduced averages. The biggest mistake is assuming fairness equals forgiveness. The system calculates based on numbers, not life stories. This rule quietly punishes inconsistency, and without a strategy, contribution gaps can become one of the most expensive hidden costs of your working life. Number 8. Longevity Risk Shift. One of the biggest changes shaping retirement in 2026 isn't written in bold letters, but it affects everyone. Canadians are living longer than ever, and the Canada Pension Plan quietly adjusts assumptions based on rising life expectancy. That sounds reasonable. But here's the problem. The longer the system expects people to live, the more it spreads payments out over time. This means lower monthly income relative to needs, especially for those who retire early or rely heavily on CPP. What makes this rule dangerous is psychological. Most people still plan retirement around age 65, mentally picturing 15 or 20 years of retirement. In reality, many will spend 25 or even 30 years drawing income. CPP was never designed to provide full financial comfort for that length of time. As longevity increases, the gap between what CPP provides and what retirees actually need becomes wider. Healthcare, mobility support, and home assistance costs tend to rise sharply in later years, exactly when flexibility and extra income matter most. The smart response to longevity risk is to plan for the longest possible version of your life, not the average one. That could mean delaying CPP, maintaining growth-focused investments longer, or keeping the option to earn income later in life. The mistake is assuming longevity is only good news. Living longer without adequate income turns time into a financial pressure instead of a gift. This rule doesn't reduce benefits outright, but it quietly forces retirees to stretch the same income across more years, and without planning, that stretch can become painfully thin. Number 9. Stability Mechanism Trigger. One of the most misunderstood aspects of the pension system is the built-in stability mechanism designed to protect it during financial stress. On the surface, this sounds reassuring, but under the Canada Pension Plan, stability doesn't mean your benefits are untouchable. It means the system is allowed to adjust the rules to stay solvent. As 2026 approaches, these safeguards become increasingly relevant due to demographic pressure, market volatility, and an aging population. Here's where the concern lies. If long-term projections show funding stress, the system can automatically respond by raising contribution rates, limiting benefit growth, or changing indexation formulas. These adjustments don't happen suddenly or dramatically, which is why most people never notice them in real time. But over years or decades, they can significantly reshape what retirees receive versus what they expected. Many Canadians hear CPP is one of the safest pensions in the world and assume that means their personal payout is guaranteed. It isn't. The system is protected first. Individual outcomes are secondary. The key lesson of this rule is realism, not fear. CPP stability mechanisms are designed to prevent collapse, not to maximize personal retirement comfort. That means your plan must assume modest, not generous, outcomes from public pensions. Treat CPP as a reliable base, but never as a promise of lifestyle maintenance. Building personal flexibility through savings, investments, or adaptable retirement timing is how you protect yourself from these quiet adjustments. This rule doesn't grab headlines, but has long-term power. When stability is triggered, expectations, not just numbers, are what get reduced. Number 10. The CPP myth. The most dangerous rule isn't written in legislation. It lives in people's minds. It's the belief that the Canada Pension Plan was designed to fully support your retirement lifestyle. It wasn't. CPP was created as a foundation, not a finish line. Yet millions of Canadians unconsciously plan their future around the idea that CPP will cover the basics, without ever defining what basics actually cost in today's world. By 2026, that myth becomes more expensive than ever to believe. Here's the reality check most people never do. Average CPP payments replace only a fraction of pre-retirement income, and that gap widens as housing, healthcare, and daily living costs rise. The shock often hits when retirees compare their last working paycheck to their first pension deposit and realize how far apart they are. CPP doesn't adjust for personal lifestyle choices, regional cost differences, or unexpected expenses. It pays according to formulas, not real lives. Relying on it alone turns retirement into a constant exercise in cutting back instead of enjoying freedom. The practical truth is this. CPP should be treated like a safety net under your plan, not the plan itself. A healthy retirement strategy assumes CPP will help, but not carry the weight alone. That means building personal savings, maintaining flexibility, and planning for multiple income sources. The biggest mistake isn't trusting CPP, it's stopping there. This final rule ties all the others together. When the myth breaks, people panic. When you plan beyond it, you stay in control of your future. As you've seen, none of these rules wipe out retirement overnight. That's what makes them so dangerous. Each change is small, technical, and easy to ignore on its own. But together, they quietly reshape what retirement will actually look like after 2026. Higher contributions, capped earnings, early retirement penalties, inflation gaps, survivor limits, all of them slowly reduce flexibility while increasing reliance on a system that was never designed to do all the heavy lifting. The Canada Pension Plan remains an important pillar, but is not immune to math, demographics, or policy adjustments. The biggest takeaway is this: retirement risk has shifted. Responsibility is moving away from institutions and onto individuals. That doesn't mean panic. It means preparation. Canadians who understand these rules early have options. They can adjust when to retire, how to save, where to build flexibility, and how to protect a spouse or family. Those who ignore them often don't realize there's a problem until income drops and choices disappear. Awareness is no longer optional. It's the difference between control and compromise. So here's your next step. Don't just watch this video and move on. Review your assumptions, question what you've been told, and start treating CPP as a base, not a guarantee. If this breakdown helped you see retirement differently, like the video, subscribe for more clear, honest financial insights, and comment below which rule surprised you the most. And remember, this content is for educational purposes only. It's not personalized financial advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making major retirement decisions. Planning ahead doesn't just protect your money, it protects your peace of mind. Before you leave, pause for a second and ask yourself, which rule hit closest to home? Drop that number in the comments and let's see how many Canadians are facing the same wake-up call. If this video helped you see retirement more clearly, please support our work. These videos take hours of research and planning to make simple and honest. Subscribe to the channel and watch our other videos on retirement planning. It's just one click, but it helps us more than you know.